Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I want to quickly talk about triggers. What are triggers? Why do we have triggers? And what is the gift that the trigger has to offer? A trigger is a pain point within your body that directs you to a trauma within your body. The trigger also directs you to a belief that you're holding about yourself that is connected to that trauma. And a trigger is activated, that pain point is activated by an external individual or an external system, like a school or a government or a religious group, right? But typically it's an individual, it's a person. And what happens is that an individual will say something to you, and you will have a knee-jerk reaction to defend yourself. This is just one way of understanding or knowing if you're being triggered. You will have a knee-jerk reaction to immediately defend yourself. And what is occurring is that this individual is triggering a belief within you that is connected to the trauma. And so you're defending yourself against what they're saying because you don't want to acknowledge the belief that you're holding, which is what they're triggering. They're triggering that belief so that you can see it, so that you can ask yourself, do I actually believe this about myself? And so that you can dive even deeper and recognize what happened in your past to create that belief. Because the belief is not who you are. It is an illusion. And we created the belief based on a previous trauma that we had. So for instance, let's say your mother is constantly saying to you throughout your life, or a best friend is saying, you're always choosing partners in your life, a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband or wife, that disrespects you, that doesn't honor who you are, that isn't capable of unconditionally loving you. You're always choosing these partners that have conditions around who you are, that try to change you. And your knee-jerk reaction is to defend that. No, I don't. I choose beautiful people in my life that love me unconditionally, right? No, they don't. I don't realize that they're doing these things until 6 months later, and then I always let them go when I realize that they don't love me unconditionally. You're defending yourself. And what's happening is they are triggering the belief within you that is associated with what they're saying. So when you are defending against somebody's statement, it is that statement or something similar to that statement that is a belief you're holding within yourself. They're telling you that you choose partners that don't unconditionally accept you, that have conditions around you, right? And what that's saying as a trigger is you don't believe that you're worthy of unconditional love. Even if you tell yourself, yes, I do, yes, I do, yes, I do. If you actually believed that you deserve unconditional love and there isn't a belief in there that says otherwise, you wouldn't have the knee-jerk reaction to defend yourself against that statement. That statement wouldn't have triggered you. They would have said that. You would have known who you actually are, that has no bearing or relevance to who you are, and you would have left it alone. No knee-jerk reaction. We defend when we are triggered because that individual is bringing up a belief within us that is stemming from a trauma. And we don't like to look at the beliefs that we don't like having about ourselves, i.e., I'm not worthy of being unconditionally loved. So it's that belief is coming from a trauma in your past where you were not unconditionally loved. You were not unconditionally accepted. And so you had this belief from that experience that taught you that you're not worthy of being all of who you are. So maybe it was a parent, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, a teacher that got mad at you for being who you are, that got mad at you for speaking your truth, that got mad at you for expressing certain emotions. You weren't allowed to be, or you weren't received and accepted for all of who you are. And then the belief comes in, there must be something wrong with me. I don't think I can be unconditionally accepted based on what's happening to me from all these people. And so you unconsciously create relationships that reflect that belief, unconsciously. And so all of a sudden, 20 years later, you have a friend, a best friend that says, hey, I'm noticing this. This is kind of what you do. And you defend it because, gosh forbid, you should actually look at that belief that's coming from that trauma. And so the trigger is an opportunity to look at your beliefs that are connecting you to the trauma so that you can heal the trauma. So anytime you find yourself defending against what someone's saying, go deep. Go deeper than just the knee-jerk reaction to defend. It takes a lot of courage for us to dive deep because it's not about that other individual. It never is. It's always about us. So do you believe what they're saying? Is there an aspect of you that believes that somewhere within you? And if you dive deep enough, most likely you will find a belief within you that you're holding that is similar to what they just said, which created the trigger in order to point you to the trauma that you had when you were 7 years old. And then you begin to ask yourself, is this belief true? And the answer is always no. The belief is not true. And then you ask yourself, what is true about me? I believe I am worthy of being unconditionally accepted. I believe that. And then once you have awareness of that belief, you can then choose to continuously move that belief out of your reality as it continues to perhaps pop up. So as soon as you go into another relationship, if you notice that somebody is not accepting you for all of who you are, because you're aware of that belief that you once held, you will immediately exit the relationship because you are now acutely aware of that belief. The trigger allowed you to be aware of that unconscious belief that you were holding, that you weren't aware of, that was connected to the trauma. And that is how you not only heal trauma, but you change the beliefs that you're holding and you change your entire life. It's that simple. It's awareness. Trigger comes in. I defend. There must be something about that statement that I am holding as a belief unconsciously. Let me dive deeper. Wow, I think that I may believe I'm not worthy. Where did that come from? Oh, when I was 7 years old. I don't think I was seen. And you don't even have to go back to the trauma. If you can't go back to the trauma, just stay with the belief. There's no need to go back to the actual trauma in order to heal the trauma. You can heal it just by releasing the belief. Wow, this is what I believe about myself. Do I want to? And if not, what do I want to believe about myself? And then when the next situation comes in with a partner or with whatever the experience is that is going to give you the opportunity to practice a new belief, if you find yourself being in that old belief, not worthy, oh, this person isn't honoring me, this person isn't letting me be who I am, this person is silencing me, this person is trying to quiet me, they have conditions around me, boom, bingo, I'm not in that belief anymore, and you leave that situation. That's how we change our lives. That's how we create, and that's how we heal trauma. So the triggers are an absolute gift. They're a pain point that directs you to the beliefs that you unconsciously or consciously have, which connects you to trauma, which allows you to clear out your body so that you can become more of a creator over and over again. And that's just one way of understanding triggers. There's a lot of reasons or ways to understand or know if you're being triggered. But the defensive piece, that's a big one. Because when you're whole, when you've cleared out a lot of your trauma, not only will you have very few triggers from people, but when someone says something to you that has no bearing on what you believe about yourself, on what you think about yourself, and on how you are, your sovereignty, who you are as a being, you'll have no response to it. None. You will not respond to it. It'll be like, do-do-do-do, next. Like, okay, thank you for that. Next. There's no reaction. And that's what we're getting to over and over again. We're moving into that wholeness over and over and over again. The more triggers we have, the more courageous we are to devour them, to look at the beliefs, to honor the trauma, to feel it all, to choose new beliefs. The less triggers we'll have, the less trauma we'll have, and the less knee-jerk reaction to defend or belittle, argue, etc. I hope this was helpful. I love you.